So hello and welcome to another Trev Talks Tech. Well, today, what have I got on here? Today I'm going to show you that, we're going to get into a couple of things. This is kind of part B of something that started a while ago. So there will be a video, you will have seen a video going up, which is about the state of my old Behringer mixer. One of the channels had actually gone very crackly and needed bits sticking in the slider hole in order to keep the channels, the two channels connected, and it wasn't very good. So in the end I decided, especially as it's an old mixer, what about replacing the slider? So in a previous video you would have seen me taking that slider apart and accidentally breaking the darn thing as well, but not that I was bothered about that, because at the end of the day it was faulty anyway. But that then spiraled into a whole other thing. I've ordered some replacement sliders at variable resistors, typical of the ones that are used on Behringer mixers, and I'm still crossing my fingers a little bit that they are actually the right resistance value and the right they are logarithmic ones, not linear ones. They should be direct replacements, but you never know when you order online, do you? So and as part of that, and with all the fun and games I had desoldering the whole thing, I just one slider, I thought, well, I think it's about time I invested in a slightly more robust piece of kit for the purpose of doing all of the desoldering. And so here we are, and I've actually bought this desoldering station. I got this from eBay. I'm much more of an eBay fan these days. I tend to, Amazon's still good, of course, lots of stuff on Amazon. It's very often the only place you can get something, especially if you need it quickly. But I've certainly been turning more to eBay more recently for my purchases, and this was one such purchase. So here we are. This is the desoldering station, 2-in-1 and ESD safe, it says on here. And I've not actually unboxed it yet, so this is what I'm now proposing to do. So this is part of the process of getting ready for that. Also, the other purchase I made was some very nice, accurate side cutting, little side cutting tools here. You can never have too many of these, and I used to have one that I relied on all the time, and like an idiot I handed it over to a domestic wiring electrician, nothing wrong with that per se, who then thought that they would try cutting cooker cable with it, and then wondered why it broke. I didn't realise that's what they were intending it for. I certainly didn't think they were going to keep persisting with that until they just broke the tool that wasn't theirs. Anyway, so I do have other side cutters now, but I bought these specifically because they have a very flat jaw, and will be more precision for snipping the sliders off. It occurred to me, you see, that it would be better to do that and then desolder the remaining bits than it would to try and desolder them all in one big lump, which never seems to work. It also means obviously having to apply more heat to the PCB, and of course the PCBs aren't designed for that either in excess. So here we go. I'm just going to swing the view down here, so you're a little bit, I'm going to be a little bit out of shot, but you'll see what's going on here. I've got a couple of views actually going on. So let's take the instruction manual out. Of course, the instruction manuals for any man are only to be read in cases of extreme emergency, when all else fails. So, or so it is said. So let's get rid of the polystyrene. When you buy cheap, you don't expect to get quality recyclable packaging, do you? This wasn't the most expensive desoldering station I could have bought. But, so I guess I've paid the environmental price, so to speak, by having that. Lots of little accessories that got here some soldering tips, because this is not just a desoldering station, it's also a soldering station as well. So it's got the two in one, which also mentioned from the what I mentioned about when I introduced it. Okay, so yeah, we've got the usual suspect, i.e. not the usual suspect, which is an IEC plug. Looks like a proper British plug. The cable feels quite the cable feels reasonably stiff, but I have reason to believe that we are dealing with at least hopefully with some decent copper here, and not plated aluminium wiring. I think we're okay on that one. And let's see what else I've got here. That looks like it's designed to be attached to something, though I can only speculate what right now. We have a pack of tools for cleaning out the desoldering nozzles, lots and holes and different sizes for that. There's also the glass receptacle, lots of filter pads, and these filter springs. These are all intended to capture the solder so it doesn't make its way back to the pump. So we've got that. I've got what looks like a grounding cable. That's presumably the ESD part of this, so it's designed to be ESD safe, and I'm just going to take this out of its holder. What we got here, we have got the soldering bit with a sponge that clearly needs to be moistened so that will fit in there properly. So yeah, somewhere to put the soldering iron, and I dare say somewhere to rest the soldering gun as well. Right, let's get the cables out the side here. So let's just do the small one first. So here's the soldering iron. I've just a blue tip over it. That's got the biggest sort of chisel tip on there you can imagine. Don't think I need to use anything that size. I'm not trying to solder parts of a tractor back together after all. And that's got a little multi-pin plug on the end, you see there, which has a ring to it, so that's going to be a nice secure fit when it goes in. And lastly, the very reason I bought this in the first place, the actual soldering gun, and we can see that's got a little, you can see from this then how the cartridge actually comes off, that the solder ends up inside this little cartridge when it's taken off, and in there it's got this spring which is acting as a catch-all for that, and any small remaining bits are obviously captured on this filter. So there's a tiny little aperture just in here, a little hole, pipe comes through there, and that's going to be where the solder comes in, and it's got a sort of spring mechanism there. And there's my pump trigger, and then we've got the cable with just the pump tube and another one of those ring style connectors. Right, which leaves the mothership. Oh, and we've got a number of desoldering tips as well of different sizes. This really threw me at first. I did take a sneak peek at this when it first arrived. It really threw me because I'm looking at these tips, and as you can see, there's actually there's actually no hole in the end. I was expecting to find tips with a hole in the end, and on closer inspection it's evidently solder, so they've been sealed up with solder. I'm not quite sure why. The last time I used a desoldering station like this, I was about 16 or 17, and it was an Antex one, I believe, and the bits just had, you know, just came with ready-made holes in for you to put on the circuit board you were working on. Anyway, that's that. That's everything from the box. Let's just put that out of the way. There we go. And here's the actual thing. Just going to check everything's looking good from there as well. Okay, so let's just move you down a little bit more. Oops, you came up. Oh, you won't go down any further. That's you lot. Okay. Okay, let's have a look at the main unit now. Put the plastic off. Right, so on the front, we've got a little display with a menu. It looks like it's got some, as you can imagine, it's got some on-off controls. It looks like it has actually what looks to be the same circuit twice over. It's got temperature control here with a switch for the soldering side, and it's got the desoldering side, and of course the pump connection, which conveniently comes off. And there is another filter in there as well. So at several stages along the path into the machine, there is in fact some sort of filtering going on. So that's nice. Right, now where I've got you positioned now, you're not going to see the display, so I'm going to just pause everything and move the cameras around so you can get a better view of what's going on down here. So if you'll excuse me for just a few moments. Okay, cameras have been moved around, or at least that one has, and now I can start putting this together. So let's start with the desoldering unit. And that is quite, it's really just common sense, to be honest. I don't think anyone will be amazed to find how this goes together. So the plugs are obviously keyed for the way around they need to go, and that's got a nice sort of quite reassuring grip to it. And then my desoldering pump pipe just goes onto there, and what do you know, the solder side is going to go on there. Now I'm going to put the soldering on as well, because I strongly suspect, well, I want to test it, of course, and I strongly suspect that I will probably need to solder up some of the connections before desoldering them. And I've also got to go and get the tools out of my workshop. This is not my workshop environment. My workshop environment is freezing right now. It's actually, well, it's just shy of 11 degrees, 12 degrees outside, which actually is remarkably good. But it's still not the most conducive environment to running these videos, because my workshop only has the garage door between it and the world outside, and there's a lot more noise there which would be distracting. So that's among other things, this is just an entirely more conducive environment. So let's have the AC plug in. I've got my little power trading power cable down here. So that's on the wall. Yep. And I need to get this soldering station sorted out. So there's a hole to put that, and there's actually got to work it out, to be honest with you, which one actually goes where. Maybe this is the time when I need to look at the destruction manual and see what is supposed to go where. So a few more diagrams would be awfully nice. Oh, here we go. There's the explanation of how to replace the filter tube. This is of course temperature controlled. Now, I'm not quite sure what temperature will be appropriate. I'm just going to go pretty much with the defaults for that one. Which is about 300, 350, something like that. Yeah, so there's nothing specifically in here which says, which indicates the way around that these are supposed to go. I do have a separate soldering, and I do actually have a separate. It looks to me like it has to go around that way. That's fine. Oh, warning! Vorsicht. No, it's just English. Yeah, all the usual things on here. Some of which doesn't really seem to apply to the unit. For example, it says that lead-based paint should only be removed by a professional and not with a heat gun. That doesn't seem to apply to this. This does strike me as being a generic operation manual flyer which goes into any of their products. It's going to include subjects like that. It's not a heat gun, it is purely a desoldering vacuum. So, okay, well, the first thing I'm going to do actually is to remove I'm actually going to put a different tip on the iron. I don't want a nested little tip. The larger, there's different options here. We've got a proper proper chisel tip that like this. We've got two more pointy ones. These are the ones I prefer. I'm actually going to use the larger of the two, and of course there's the one that was already on it, which is quite heavy duty, and as I'm not soldering any pipes today, that's not going to be used. So in goes the pointy tip, and that whole thing now has to go over the element. There we go. I hope that's all sitting all right. There's actually a spring. There's some spring in there. That all seems to have gone back in nicely. So in that goes. Just put all of these away. I'm looking at that piece of plastic and wondering if it's heat resistant, but my suspicion is not. All right, let's turn it on and see how we go. So the boot from somewhere. Okay, there's a beep there. It's switching on. Just flashing away at the moment. You might be able to see that in my more sort of bench level camera over there. In this one here, you can probably see. So I guess it's just warming up right now, and I am obliged to wait for that. So while I'm waiting, I just want to tell you about the next stage of the process. So the idea from here on in, once we've just had a quick test on this, is going to be to bring in the other, to bring in my mixer and start having a go at that. So this has been the setup, or will be the setup, of the desoldering station. It's a WEP 948D Mark III. As I say, I got this from eBay. There are a lot of similarly priced ones. There are ones that also were a lot more expensive. But at the moment, nothing seems to be happening. I'm not getting any warmth in the desoldering tool or the soldering gun. Nothing happening there. So is it waiting for me to turn it on? It is waiting for me to turn it on. Here we go. The temperature is now climbing rapidly. Not sure where the temperature sensor is located in this device. Okay, so there you go. It was just waiting for me to do something, and I'm not sure what the menu does yet. I can hear that running. Evidently, I can't. It doesn't let you pull the trigger unless and until the gun is fully up to temperature. It's currently in preheat. Now I'm just putting the trigger there, and it's coming up on the display PHT, which I'm obviously going to imagine suggests preheat. Coming up a lot hotter for the desolder. I suppose you do want to get the desolder out a bit more quickly, if it helps to do that. Right, so there you go. It's up and running. It seems to be doing its thing. I'm just going to bring this camera closer to you so you can just see the display more accurately. Hopefully that's a bit more visible there. You can see the front panel of this device. So there you go. That's the setup. That's my setup. And what I'm going to do now. What I'm going to do now is to let that finish heating. I'm going to bring in the mixer, and we'll start having a look at what's involved with that. Okay, so that will be. I'm going to split this into 2 videos. That will be the subject of the next video. Please do actually then click on and see that next video if you want to see how the replacement of the mixer components actually goes. And obviously I'd love to have you. So thank you very much. If you are not subscribed to me yet, please do go down and hit the subscribe button. You know what to do. Everyone asks you to do the same, of course. And but I'd love to have you if you want to do that. Oh, there you go. And we are ready to use the desoldering station. So that seems like a good place to say see you soon. Take care.